Welcome to University Physics 2, Fall 2020. My name is Ray Benge. I'll be teaching the class, and the class will be primarily asynchronous, meaning I'll be recording lectures and posting them here, links to them here, and then you can watch them on your own time. I'll have a couple of question and answer sessions each week. This first week, I'm just going to have one because you really don't have a whole lot of questions yet. But the idea would be to watch the lectures, look at the lab material, and then come to the Q&A session if you would like to ask questions. I'll record those sessions so that if you can't actually make it, you can still see what was covered there. Sometimes in the Q&A sessions, I'll give a little more information about the lab that we're doing that week to give you a little more background. The textbook is going to be the Halliday, Resnick, and Walker. I will be assigning homework. I've already assigned homework for the entire semester. I've posted it on Blackboard. I'm going to be putting a place there on Blackboard to upload all the assignments. The other thing here that we'll be doing, you've got the syllabus. You should read the chapter in addition to watching the lectures. I've posted old exams from previous semesters so you know how I ask questions, what kind of questions I ask. I'm not going to ask the exact same questions, but that does give you kind of an idea of how I ask questions. Homework is important. It doesn't count that much in the course grade, but it is very important because it gives you practice actually doing the problems. The more problems you do, the better you are doing things. There's also going to be a term paper. The term paper, again, is not going to be a huge amount of the course grade, about half a letter grade. I mean, so it's not, you don't want to blow it off. But the term paper is going to be an opportunity to write about something in a little more detail, something of your interest that physics relates to. And so when I was a student, I found that writing a paper like that really helped me solidify ideas and to see what all this stuff is good for. And so hopefully that would work well with y'all too. So I'll be posting more on Blackboard details about the term paper and how to do that. So you'll have to actually do some research on it. If you can't actually go to the library, you can still get books from the library. You can reserve them and go to the library and they'll hand them to you. You can also have, our library has paid a lot of money to have ebooks available. So you have ebooks available. What you find is most of the good stuff is not just free on the internet for Google. So you can find a lot better things by actually using the library resources and the databases and so forth. So don't wait to the last minute to write the term paper, otherwise it's an onerous task. If you start early, you get out of the way long before the due date, don't have to worry about it. So while you have time, you might want to look at it. So we got the homework. We've got obviously going to be tests. Tests are problem-based. Again, I've posted old exams from previous semesters as a guide to you to study so that you know how I ask questions, what kind of questions I ask. So that should be something there you should look at. A lot of students, when we cover stuff in class, they'll kind of study the material, then they'll try to see if they can solve the old problems that are similar to that. That's a good study strategy. Don't try to study right before the test and expect to get it. This is not the kind of subject that works well with. The other thing that's going to be a portion of the class is class interactions, discussions. Since we don't have actually a time for the class, no set time period, some of y'all are going to have schedules that have you occupied during the day, some of you occupied at night. I mean, so I don't know when you're available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have discussion boards set aside on the Blackboard side. And the assignment here is going to be basically look at the lecture videos, read the chapter, and then ask a pertinent question. So for example, if the chapter were about Newton's laws or something like that, then you might want to ask a question that relates to that. You might say, well, I don't understand why the United States uses these kind of units instead of those kind of units. And so you'd ask a question, why is that the case? Or the other thing I'd like you to do is think about, well, how would you apply this in a particular case? And so, for example, kind of make up your own sort of homework problem. If you had a certain amount of material, you take this many electrons off, how much force would that exert on something else that has a certain amount of charge a certain distance away? So that'd be an example. And so then while you're asking questions, your assignment is that you have to answer someone else's questions. So if they're asking, so you need to keep on top of this. And so they have a question, so you might want to Google the answer. Well, why do we have these kind of units? Okay, or go ahead and answer one of the problems that someone comes up with, and then make comments here about what you're learning in here. Now this does two things, or more than two things actually. It engages you in the class, so you're actually participating in the class. That actually triggers something in your brain different than just sitting here passively trying to absorb stuff. Secondly, it actually makes you think about things beyond just what I'm saying. And sometimes what I've discovered is that students actually come up with these questions that are very meaningful to other students. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't even think about that. And so that's very important as well. So that's why the discussion boards really are a vital part of the class. They might not look like it, but they really are engaging you in the class and making you think about the class. You need to think. This is not a subject you get just by, studying the night before the test. You have to constantly be integrating it into your brain and thinking about it and figuring out, what does this mean to me? No one takes this class, no one takes university physics simply as an elective. Well, okay, I say that, but I've had one or two students who've done that. But one or two students out of decades I've been teaching this class, only one or two have taken it as an elective. Everybody else takes it because you need it for your major. So you need to know this stuff, and that's my goal, is to make sure you understand it and integrate it into your thought processes, not just being able to solve a problem and get credit for the class so that you go on and take another class, because you're going to be using this stuff in later classes. Whether you directly use it, or whether you use the techniques that you're learning in here. Either way, you're going to be using what we're doing in here in later classes. And so I want to make sure that you have the thought processes down. And again, that involves using different parts of your brain to do different things. And so I'll be talking more about this later. Those of y'all that have had me for Physics 1, you know that I always like to draw a diagram for every problem. And that's also this part of using different parts of your brain. You process information differently visually than you do analytically. And so if you draw a diagram and look at it, then look at the words of the problem, then look at the mathematics, you're using your entire brain instead of just part of your brain. Obviously, if you use your entire brain, you're likely to understand it better and do better on the problem. So that's, again, this is very important to utilize your entire brain, your entire focus. Different people learn different ways, but everybody also learns lots of different ways. All individuals learn more than one way. There's not just one style in which you learn. You might have one style that you prefer to learn in, one style you're better at learning in, but you actually do use all those different learning styles. So again, I'm trying to engage all of these. A couple other things here. Make sure you actually read the syllabus. I'll be posting the labs and the lectures here shortly. And so there's various parts here of the class. It's pretty straightforward. You have a break on doing labs during the weeks that we have exams. And so that gives you a little more time to concentrate on the exam. But other than that, y'all should know what to do. This is Physics 2. You've already had Physics 1, so I expect you to understand how physics works. So look forward to interacting with you over the course of the semester, and let's get to work then.